This is the Just Live podcast with Dan and Suzie Potter, episode 43.
How can you connect with a fun experience?
In this episode, we will open wide and trust each other.
We begin in 22 seconds.
Live life, see the good days in it, just live. Live life, see the good days, see the good days, follow your potential. And live life, see the good days in it, thrive.
Your life is a remarkable story and adventure that only you can create.
We exist to help you grow your unique connection.
So in this episode, welcome to episode number 43. We're going to continue on with the In 30 challenge. This is the intentional connection challenge over 30 days or whatever time frame you want. And this idea is called Open Wide. It has to do with food.
Now, this can
And
be
it
you
has
as a
to-
couple.
It has
or
to
it can-
do with feeding each other.
It can be you as a couple. Susie just gave me an apple. We're going to be feeding each other during this episode.
So sorry if feeding and chewing is a problem to you, but it's all a part of this fun experience.
All right. So if you're a couple or you're single and you want to try something fun with your friends, this experience will help you really connect. What you need to do is have a meal or a bowl of food. We have a bowl
We have
here.
a bowl of snacks.
We have, there's figs in there, and there's watermelon, there's apple, there's cashews, there's a few other things. And what we're going to be doing is
Oops, I
we
gotta feed
share.
each other.
Don't feed yourself.
Sorry, it just looks
You're
so
not
yummy.
allowed to feed yourself. This is an experience, and it's going to be fun. You can't even tell the other person what you want. They just have to choose for you your meal.
I already had a fail because I fed myself.
and
Sorry.
Take two. And feed you.
Okay, so this comes from our intentional challenge. This is our list of 60 ideas. Once again, we invite you to join the In 30 challenge. It's a free course that Dan and I have written up ideas because many couples were wanting ideas for their date nights. Many people in relationships were like, hey, we want to have some ideas that allow us to uniquely...
Open wide. I love this because as I feed her, she has to chew, so I get to talk a little bit. This is a great... Guys, if you're out there and you're like, I never get a word...
Oops, I just Oops, I just ruined your word in there, didn't I? Open wide. Here's the idea from the PDF. I have it right here on my phone. Choose a meal or a snack where you must feed the other. The one being fed has no use of their arms, so they must totally depend on the other. Once the one is eaten, switch roles, or we're going to just do bites.
So wait a second. If you're having a meal, it's the one person eats first, and then the other person eats. And again, one can't pick up anything for themselves. They just have to be served.
All right, so here are some of the benefits that feeding each other and creating and strengthening your connections. This is what happens as you benefit. The number one benefit is trust and vulnerability. Now, isn't this true? If you're going to let somebody else put something in your face, in your mouth, then you're gonna. This is a watermelon. This causes you to have to trust and be vulnerable for how they're going to put it in your mouth, not spilling, what they're going to put in your mouth. Like there's a lot of safety and actually emotional connectedness. Like we said, it's a fun experience because this one really makes us laugh as we're doing it. Like, oh, I'm going to have a bite now. Okay. So that's the first one, trust and vulnerability.
And here's a watermelon, and here's a fig. And here's a cashew. My turn. The next one is the whole area of physical touch and intimacy. When you are in the midst of feeding the other person, the focus is on them. You're going to be touching. You're going to be laughing. You're going to have some intimate moments of course, laughing, but trying to talk with your mouth full. That's a little bit intimate. Again, intimacy is into me see. And this is a practice. Susie and I do this sometimes at a meal. And I just have to serve her. And she just has to eat. It's sort of like the baby bird in the nest. It's just open wide. And there is that opportunity that you're not talking about everything. You're focusing and you're hoping they give you the cashew, but they may only give you the fig. But you just have to have your mouth open.
All right, there you go. Couple bites for you. So this,
Oh.
whoops, that was kind of a good. Okay, so the third is mindful presence and focus. Like, I'm not really great at this. Dan and I often do a lot of road trips, and we always have snacks on our road trips because it's so fun. Dan can drive and drive and drive. I'm the expert navigator. I'm the relief driver, but he mostly drives. So oftentimes I have to be mindful and I have to focus, because if it's a spoonful of something, I don't always get it in his mouth. And so when I do, he's like, hey, you did it, because I have to be very mindful about where his mouth is and how that food needs to go in. So I am right-handed. I usually sit on the right side of him, opposite of what we're doing right now. So I have to feed him across his body and in his mouth, and trying not to get in front of his eyes because he's driving, right? And so for me, it's a big challenge. I have to focus. I have to be mindful. And doing things backwards in a mirror, like a selfie, it doesn't always work great for me.
There have been moments where she will put like a spoonful of ice cream in, and she takes it out before I bite. And it's like, no, you got to wait. So then I've had it across my mouth. I've had all kinds of ketchup and mustard and everything on my lap. But it is one of those.
It's bonding.
You got to be there,
It's bonding. It's an emotional connection.
It is. Fourth area is it's a shared experience. There is some bonding there. You're going to create some laughs. You're going to create some, oh no. Susie always creates this. Are you kidding me? Did you not know there was ketchup in that hamburger? And now I'm wearing it. So that is part of intentionality. It's not about being perfect. This is an experience. You're not sure how it's going to go, but you share it, and there's bonding, and there's positive moments, and there's probably negative moments. But you can't be nagging the person when they're feeding you. The baby bird just opens its mouth, and mama brings it. And that's where this idea came from, is that we just take time to trust the other and open up.
All right, there you go. A couple bites for you. The fourth benefit is playfulness and joy. Now, Fifth. Sorry,
talking with mouthful.
I'm all about this. Playfulness. I love when there's cheekiness involved, where there's something that you can giggle about. One of the things that we try to do every day is have a belly laugh. Mm-hmm. And so playfulness, Dan to me and me to Dan, that just really strengthens our connection. Oh, you want some more, huh? Strengthens our connection. You're like a little baby bird. Okay, don't want you to run out here. It strengthens our connection. So joy, and this is one of my momentum challenges, to have overflowing joy. This is the laugh out loud. I don't get a joy point if I don't laugh out loud. And many times when we're feeding each other, even now in this podcast, you hear us just overflowing with joy. So it brings laughter. Mm-hmm. It brings happiness to our relationship. It makes us let go of our inhibitions. You can't control a laugh and be free. So this brings a bit of freedom as well when you have the joy and you having some playfulness, and like this is not prescribed. Whoopsie.
Down the front of me.
Mindfulness. Sorry about that. I missed it again.
Oh.
It's hard for me to do two things at once. Talk, feed, try to keep on board here. So anyways, be playful and let the joy out. This is an uncontrollable moment, right? You can't really control it. So this will bring a really fun connection together.
The sixth benefit is emotional nourishment. Now, when you're eating, there's always nourishment. Food is there. It may be good for food or may not be good food, but there is definitely nourishment there. But sometimes we don't think intentionally of how do we nourish each other emotionally. And I think that's really important. And this is what happens at a meal or at a snack or at a picnic. When you, the eater, you're not using your hands. You are basically totally dependent on them. Mm-hmm. Your happiness, your sadness, it's all coming from what's coming next. And also, it's really fun when you need to take a drink. That person by the way. I've had that all
That's
the way
a lot
down.
of trust.
Been all the way down my chest. Oh,
For those of you who are just listening, Dan just stuffed my mouth full. Oh,
and
still
I'm
going.
not done yet.
Still going.
So emotions are really important. God created emotions to be felt, but sometimes we don't intentionally nourish those, grow those, feed those. So in this open wide challenge, in this open wide date, in this open wide whatever it is, you will be emotionally nourished.
So I love this one, open wide, feeding each other. If you are not a couple, this is also
Oh, it's a
very
blast.
fun. If you will be vulnerable and trust one another to
do this with your team. It's great.
Have a conversation together while you're doing it. And it's also, as we've just found, we didn't plan this out, but when I have my mouth full, it's hard for me to talk and Dan gets to have more time. I think you planned this purposefully, right?
Maybe I
But
did.
there's a lot of love and appreciation, emotional support, emotional bonding. We talked about playfulness, joy, fun, trust, vulnerability. It makes you focus and be mindful. I'm not really great at that. I think I forgot to feed you.
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry about that.
So we have a lot more intentional connections coming up, but we want to invite you, if you haven't already, download the 30-day challenge. It's called the In 30 Challenge, where
It's a free course.
you actually can get the full list of 30 or 60 plus ideas to start in on it, to start as a couple or with friends, diving in this summer to being intentional as a couple or with some really good friends. There are some things we're going to do that it's very peaceful. There are other things like this that's a total
A
riot.
little crazy.
But we encourage you, jump on and get that list and begin with us.
All right. And so for those of you couples, we do challenge you this summer or whenever you're listening to this or watching this recording to take 30 days in a row for your intentional connections. So this could be like 5 or 10 minutes a day only. For those of you who don't have time every day, some schedules really don't allow for that. Do it once a week, once a month. You might want to combine a few of these challenges together. But we encourage you to have intentional connections that bring you together, especially as a couple or in your friendships.
So this is the Just Live podcast, helping you put life back into your life.
This has been life.
And our hope is that you live fully life as you love your life
Your world.
and your God. My name is Dan.
My name is Susie with a full
Together
mouth.
we are Doozy
Live fully.
and love fully.
Thank you for joining us for this episode number 43. See you soon.
Open wide.